To West Asia now, where conflict is intensifying, Israel has attacked a Syrian port, the port of Latakia. It was a late-night bombing, the second in a month. Tensions between the two countries are spiraling. Israeli warplanes fired a number of missiles. They struck the coastal city of Latakia in western Syria. Latakia is one of Syria's principal port cities. It's a major hub of trade and manufacturing. Last night, it was bombed by Israel. We'll discuss why, but first I want to show you what the attack looked like. The images are dramatic, to say the least. Huge plumes of fire and smoke erupted from a container storehouse. This was the prime target of the airstrikes. Reports say the explosions could be heard all the way in Tartus. That's a coastal city more than 80 kilometers from Latakia. Here's another video. It shows firefighters struggling to douse the flames. The fire destroyed several containers at the facility. The operations are said to have lasted till dawn. And now a third video, which shows fires raging through a vast expanse of land. The damages are said to be massive. Reports say residential buildings, shops, and at least one hospital were destroyed in the Israeli airstrike. This, like I said, is the second such airstrike this month. The first one was on the 7th of December. That's when Israel conducted a similar airstrike on Latakia on a similar target, a container facility on this port. Why is Israel after them? Why is it striking container facilities in Latakia? Because apparently these containers are Iranian weapon shipments. Or so the IDF claims, the Israeli Defense Forces. They say these containers are bringing arms and ammunition from Iran. And Iran, as you would know, is an enemy of the state of Israel. So Israel is essentially attacking Iranian weapons in Syria. Again, that's the IDF version. And who is Iran sending these weapons for? The Hezbollah, says Israel. The Hezbollah is a Shia Islamist militant group. It operates in Syria and Lebanon and is financed by the Iranian regime. The Hezbollah is fighting on the side of the Syrian government. So Israel says it is striking them, Iranian interests and partners. And that's reason number one. Number two is this: stopping Syria from producing deadly nerve agents. Remember, the Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad has often been accused of using deadly nerve gas on civilians. Thousands of civilians have been killed in this way since the civil war began in 2011. One attack alone is said to have left 1,400 people dead in a suburb of Damascus, the capital of Syria. Next question. Who helped Syria manufacture such heinous chemical weapons, nerve agents? Again, it's Iran. Since 2006, the Islamic Republic of Iran is said to have financed and facilitated the construction of several chemical weapons facilities in Syria. So Israel's endgame, you could say, is to keep a check on Iran's shenanigans in the region, to counter Iranian-backed forces, Iranian-backed weapons programs, and Iran's support for Syria in the Golan Heights. And that's the other bone of contention between Israel and Syria. The Golan Heights. This is the region we are talking about, 1,800 square kilometers, wedged between Israel, Lebanon, Syria and Jordan. Israel captured the Golan Heights from Syria in the 1967 war, the famous Six-Day War. And in 1981, it annexed this region and declared it Israeli territory. Syria and Iran say Israel's control on this region is illegal. The United States and some Western countries do not agree. They say Golan Heights is part of Israel. And this debate is getting fiercer. I'll tell you why. Until now, Israel had about 25,000 settlers living in the region. Now it plans to double that number. A multi-million-dollar plan has been unveiled in Israel. The government will pump more money and infrastructure into the region along with thousands of Jewish settlers. That's the plan. Israel's end goal is to double the Jewish population in the Golan Heights. Syria says it won't let that happen. It has condemned Israel's plans and vowed to restore control on the Golan Heights. Needless to say, Iran supports Syria on this. And so we have another potential and long-buried conflict resurfacing. Israel is already taking precautionary and preemptive action. It is striking port cities in Syria. It's conducting drills near the Syrian border and expanding its footprint in the Golan Heights. 2021 may be ending, but decades-old rivalries in West Asia are nowhere near their end. We'll be tracking this story closely. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.